We are Cory and Wallace, an early retired couple on a full-time journey around the world. With a passion for exploring new cultures, discovering hidden gems, and enjoying delicious local food, we are on a mission to experience as much of the world as we can.
Hello from Mexico City.
We've been here a couple days now, and today we are going to take a little wander around. Our hotel is in the Reforma area, and it's really close, like walking distance to the historic center of town. So we thought we'd take you guys along with us today and go for a wander. Now, right behind us right now is the Monumento a la Revolucion, and it is, as the name implies, a monument to the Mexican Revolution. We're currently like 2-minute walk from our hotel, so we're gonna go and take a look, or get a closer look at the monument behind us. So there is supposed to be an elevator that goes up the middle there, and supposedly there's a museum and an observation deck up top. But currently, as we walk up, it's entirely surrounded by this fence here. And when I Googled that, it says that the fences go up around all the monuments around here when there's protests. I guess protesters tend to deface these monuments. So I don't know if this means that they're expecting a protest, or there was one recently, or if, well, honestly, I Googled it, those comments about the protests go back like 2 or 3 years. Maybe they just leave the fences up permanently now. I'm not sure. So we're gonna go take a walk around and see if we can find a way in.
We're standing here at the entrance of the Revolution, and it's 170 pesos to go in, which is about $13 Canadian, which isn't that expensive, but honestly, we just don't feel like going in. So
I mean, it's an observation deck, and it's not that high, and there's not that much in this area to see, I don't think.
So we're gonna take a pass on this one, but I'm sure if you're here and want to check it out, it'd be a great place to come see.
Yeah, so you basically have to go around the side of it, and there is obviously the entrance that goes down below. That's why the fencing, I was curious about what the fencing was all about, but there you have it. Anyways, let's keep going. As we continue our way towards the historic center, we've come across a big park here, and this is Alameda Central, and it is the oldest public park in the Americas, established in 1592. So we're just gonna go continue on and take a look as we walk. As we continue walking along the park here, behind us there's this monument to Benito Juarez, who was a former Mexican president, and once again completely surrounded by fencing, except this time the fencing's been graffitied with like street art and what looks like political messages, like let's see, there's Free Palestine, actually a lot of Free Palestine messages on there among some other ones.
Yeah, and walking through the park, there's a very, very heavy police presence.
Yeah.
So I guess a few safety tips: walk during the day. It's totally fine during the day. I would highly recommend staying away from it at night. There's a lot of homeless people, and the police presence tells me that they're really trying to make that a safe area.
We've just exited the park, which is just over there, and now standing in front of this really impressive looking building behind me, which is the Palacio de Bellas Artes, or the Palace of Fine Art. And it is a cultural center that puts on performing arts exhibits and events. It was inaugurated in 1934 and is a really beautiful looking building. We saw it last night when we took the Uber by on our way to dinner, and it looked absolutely stunning. And right across the street is the Sears building. Now, funny thing is, Mexico City was built on a lake, and so part of the city is sinking. And you can actually see here, this building to the left of the Sears building, you see this crack here. It's wider at the top because that building is leaning that way, and they've basically filled the gap with, I don't know, the concrete or whatever, but you can definitely see signs of that throughout the city. You can see some of the sidewalk areas are shifting and like sinking, and it's kind of interesting. And apparently up on the 8th floor, there's a cafe with a terrace where we can potentially get a much better view of this building and this whole courtyard area. So we're gonna go head up, grab coffee, and take a look. We're sitting at the cafe now, and it's Cafe Don Porfirio, and it is obviously very busy. We're at a table right now, and once the bar seats that overlook the street clear up, we'll get moved to one of those. But clearly everyone's here for the view. We're not the only ones, not by a long shot. We decided to stop at a local restaurant called Los Cocuyos for a quick light and very late lunch. It's like 4 p.m. now. This place is very busy, very loud. There's someone singing, local music, but there's a lull in that right now, so it's a little more tolerable. But the tacos here look and smell really good. And so I've got al pastor, which is marinated grilled pork. I've got a cachete, which is beef cheek, and a capuchino, which is brisket and chorizo mixed. So I'm gonna load up on some hot sauce and dig in here. Gonna dig into the pastor here. Oh, that's tasty. We finished our lunch. It was delicious. Really, really tasty tacos. Really cheap. I think for both of us, for 3 tacos and a drink each, we paid under 17 Canadian dollars. It was, what was it, 195 Mexican pesos plus a tip. It was super noisy in there. Also, that entire street, it's all music shops, musical instruments, big speakers blasting music from different electronic stores. Can't even think properly in there, but we are done and we're heading that way towards our next destination. We've made it to our destination, and this is, it's called Zocalo, also known as the main square here in Mexico City, also known by its formal name, which is Plaza de la Constitucion, or Constitution Square. This used to be a ceremonial center for an ancient Aztec city, whose name I cannot pronounce, so I'm not even going to try to butcher it. But today it's this massive bustling square that's just going to be that way behind me. We're going to go wander through, and it's old because I believe it was completed back in like 1524 or thereabouts. So let's go take a look. So right up until now, I was saying that I was actually really surprised by Mexico City so far, in that it was very mellow, very laid back. This now is more what I had in mind. There's a lot of people out here. This is probably one of the biggest tourist spots in the area. There are vendors everywhere. That's what all these tents are just street vendors basically. And it is definitely a lot busier here right now. We are now in the main square here at Plaza de la Constitucion. This place is huge, and let's see, so there is the Mexico City Metropolitan Cathedral in the distance behind me. That's that massive building back there. There is the National Palace to the east. There's federal district buildings to the south, just that way, and then something called the Old Portal de Mercaderes to the west, as well as you can probably see just behind me, like literally right there, is a giant Mexican flag that is ceremonially raised and lowered at the end of every day and carried into the National Palace over there. We wandered over to the Mexico City Metropolitan Cathedral. Admission is free and they're open until 5:30. So we're gonna go wander in and take a look. It's a very impressive looking building. It was built between, if I read correctly, 1583 and like 1817 in various stages. And the facade over there looks really impressive. It always strikes me as odd when churches sell souvenirs. Maybe that's just me.
That pipe organ has to be the biggest one you've ever seen in a church.
Okay, I think that's where we're gonna leave it for today. What'd you think of this area of Mexico City?
It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's actually a lot quieter than even we thought it would be. It looked like it was going to be really busy, but it ended up being just more statues than anything else. This place is super mellow. I'm shocked because this is one of the biggest cities in the world. I fully expected it to be like every other city that we've been in, but it's not. It's really cool.
Agreed. Absolutely 100% agree. I expected a lot more hustle and bustle and a lot more intensity. And honestly, so far, we're pleasantly surprised. It's really laid back and mellow. Everyone's friendly. The food is delicious. The weather's perfect. I don't think we could have picked a better month to come to Mexico City.
No. Yeah, it's just, there's no complaints whatsoever.
Anyways, we're going to leave it here for today, and we'll pick it up later.
It's now the next day and we decided to keep wandering, so now we've come to check out Chinatown.
We're back in the area of Alameda Central, and is right across the street there, and the Palacio de Bellas Artes is like right across the street that way. So we're very close to where we were yesterday. Didn't really know that Chinatown existed here until we saw this gate behind us. So we're gonna go wander. I don't think Chinatown's that extensive here, but we'll go take a look. So Chinatown is definitely a bit of a vibe here. It's the busiest street we've seen so far here in Mexico City. Lots of Chinese restaurants, and I use the term Chinese loosely. It's fusion Chinese food, I'm sure, not authentic. Lots of street vendors selling like steam buns, for example, and again, really non-traditional. I'm seeing some crazy flavor combinations and like crazy colored, like dyed color swirls on the bun that are absolutely not normal. Again, I'm Chinese, so these are not things I've ever seen before in my life.
So behind us is the post office.
It's the Palacio Postal, I think is how it's said in Spanish.
And at one point it was free to enter because it was just a place of business, but it seems that it's become very popular and now you have to pay to get in. It's not terrible, like a terrible amount.
It's 50 pesos per person. Now, what I understand is it used to be free. You could go in and take pictures of the ground floor area, and it is beautiful in there. The architecture is really stunning. The upstairs levels used to be completely closed off, but now apparently it's an actual museum, and that's why there's an admission fee to go in and see it. It's pretty late in the day. We were just kind of wandering around, so we're probably not going to bother, but it is something else that you can do here. Right next to the post office, there was this book vendor street area. It's just all books on either side here, so we decided to go wander through.
So it's the evening of Friday, so we've been here for a few days, and we are going to
Lucha Libre, which is Mexican wrestling, which should be really interesting. Lucha Libre literally translates as freestyle fighting, so think WWE style wrestling, but I think it's even more of a production than that. By my understanding, it should be equal parts WWE and Mexican soap opera. So this should be really entertaining, and we're going to go check it out tonight.
Yeah, we don't expect to understand the storyline. That's not our expectation. But from what we understand, even if you don't understand the storyline, it's still a ton of fun.
Yep.
We are not allowed cameras in there, so it will be all done by our cell phone, and it'll probably just be short clips because we'll be just enjoying the show. But we'll show you kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, it's apparently very popular. Shows sell out. So we only found out about this a couple of days ago. Our new friend, Vicky, that we met, told us about it. We got tickets. There was very few good tickets available. It's like one of the oldest professional wrestling circuits or companies that's around. They were established back in 1933, I think, so quite a long time ago. And yeah, like Cory said, we're not going to understand anything because there will be a storyline or some sort of narrative, but it'll all be in Spanish. But it should be a lot of fun, a lot of high-flying, acrobatic type wrestling moves, and it should just be a really interesting time.
Yeah, we've never done anything like this, so it should be a lot of fun and just totally different.
So let's get going.
As we're walking to the show, there's a big square and there's dancing. It looks like it's fairly organized. That's just really cool.
As we approach Arena Mexico, it's very obvious that we're at the destination because the streets got very crowded. All of a sudden there's vendors all up and down the street. There's some street food vendors, but mostly it's people selling Lucha Libre wrestling like masks and t-shirts and like action figures and that sort of stuff. And yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting time tonight. All right, we are in. It's absolutely crazy. There's so much energy outside. Now, one thing to note, depending on where your seats are, there's two different entrances. So we went to the wrong one first, so we were told to go around the other side of the building. Once you do go in, they do a pat down, like a security pat down, so no cameras are allowed, just cell phones, wallets, not even bottled water or anything like that. So don't bring anything because you're going to be forced to dump it. Once you get in, they scan your tickets, and as soon as you come in, there's these blue vested porters whose job it is to help guide you to your seats. I think they basically worked for tips, so just gave him a small tip, nothing major there. But we are in our seats. We're Ring A or Zone A, row 15, so we're not too far from the ring, which is really awesome.
Yeah, should be a good show. We can see very clearly, so yay.
Qué gusto verlos en este día espectacular, disfrutando de la mejor lucha libre del mundo, la del Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, en esta... Y hoy, como capitán de su esquina, aparece Pequeño Pólvora. Llega también Explosivo. Y directamente de Guadalajara, Jalisco, México, él es Star.
That was so much fun.
We didn't understand a word of it, but yeah, the energy in that place was crazy. It was just lively.
Mhm.
The wrestlers, wow, they are very athletic.
I can't believe how bulked they are with the amount of stunts that they do.
But also how fast they can move.
Yeah, so
And some of those jumps they were taking from the top rope, yeah, that's quite a ways. That's a lot of distance to jump. So kudos to them. That was really, really fun.
I mean, clearly they do a lot of practice. Like, there's no question about that. Super fun. Totally recommend. You can buy tickets on Ticketmaster, or if you go, we did see ticket sales for like the nosebleed sections. I think those were really super cheap.
The popular nights do sell out, so it is advisable to buy tickets in advance through Ticketmaster. You can also book a tour, like a group tour, which would include your ticket. That's up to you.
Yeah, but overall, definitely something to do while you're here. We're not sports people at all, but this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was more fun than anything. Not really serious, sports. I mean, obviously, if you've grown up watching wrestling back in North America, like WWE, that stuff's all scripted, and this was no different. It's just really, really entertaining. And also, if you show up hungry or thirsty, they've got beer and other beverages and food and snacks for sale as well. So overall, yeah, definitely a fun time. But I think this is where we're going to end this video. Thanks very much for joining us here for our first few days in Mexico City. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up to give us a like and make sure to subscribe.
And join us in our other videos for more adventures. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.